Hi, we're going to continue learning about migration. So, yesterday I read the beginning of this book, How Do Birds Find Their Way? And we talked about two reasons why birds might migrate. One is for warmer weather, one might be for more resources or more bugs and food to eat with less competition. So I'm going to read the end of this book, and then you're going to do an activity that's all about competing for resources. But the end, where we ended this, said, how do they find their way? That's the big mystery. So I'm going to start thinking about that. This is a barn swallow, and this is an Arctic tern. Okay, we'll do it like this. Some birds may follow rivers, mountain ranges, or seashores, but many birds find their way over the ocean. There seems to be nothing there to guide them. What keeps the birds from flying in circles? Because I could see if they're flying over a river, they might recognize the bends of the river and the mountain ranges. But if they're just going over the ocean, it's pretty amazing that they don't get lost. Ornithologists have some ideas about how birds know which way is north or south. Birds migrate both in the daytime and at night. When birds fly by day, they use the sun to guide them. Birds seem to know what time of day it is and can use the sun's position to find north and south. Oh, so we've learned that there are patterns to looking at the sky. And we did an experiment with shadows when we were at school, and we noticed in the morning the sun would look like it was there. In the afternoon, it would look like it was there. The sun's not really moving, but the earth was rotating towards it. So we were able to tell if it was morning or afternoon based on where the sun looked like it was. So that's part of what the birds are doing. That is so interesting. They know that to fly south in the morning when the sun is in the east, they must have the sun on the left. Interesting. For birds to fly south in the afternoon, the sun must be on the right. So we also learned that as the earth rotates or revolves, it also rotates. So it goes around in circles as it goes around the sun, which means at different times of year, you would see stars or different stars in different places because of where the earth was on its trip around the sun. One trip around the sun is a year. One turn around in a circle was a day. So in the winter, we're over here on this side of the sun, but in the summer, we're on that side of the sun. So the stars look different. When birds fly at night, the stars help them to find their way. Scientists have tested this idea. Birds were put in a big planetarium where the position of the stars could be moved. Scientists who worked in the planetarium placed the stars in the sky as we see them. The birds flew in one direction. When the pattern of the stars was changed, the birds flew in a different direction. It was clear that the birds had noticed that the position of the stars had changed.
I can't hear you.
Okay. But birds can also find their way when it's cloudy. That's a good point. So, how do they do that? They fly when they cannot see the sun during the day or the stars at night. Now that is pretty amazing. How do they know which way to go? One idea is that birds are able to use the Earth's magnetic field to guide them. The magnetic field is an invisible force that surrounds the Earth. It's strongest near the North and South poles, up here and here. The magnetic field is what makes the needle on a compass point north. Ornithologists think that some birds may have a built-in compass inside their bodies. So if I hold magnets against each other, they either attract, like they pull to each other, or if you have magnets that are like have opposites, they repel, they push against each other. So I can feel these ends of the magnets actually like they have a ball in between them. and they're pushing against each other. So they're saying that maybe birds have something inside of them that feels the magnetism of the earth, that either feels like it attracts or pushes them to help them know where they are. That is pretty amazing. Homing pigeons are especially good at finding their way. When they're taken far away from home, they're usually able to find their way back. Scientists have experimented with these pigeons. They put special covers over the bird's eyes so that the pigeons cannot see clearly. Even when the pigeons cannot see, they're very often able to return home. Another kind of bird called a Manx shearwater was carried from England to Massachusetts, a distance of about 3,000 miles. In 12 days, it was back in England on its own nest. They took it on an airplane and it found its way home. How do birds know when it's time to leave for the south? Or, at the end of winter, how do they know it's time to start going north? Scientists know that birds have a built-in yearly calendar. The calendar tells the birds when the days become shorter, it is fall. It's time to migrate south. When the days become longer, it's spring, and it's time to migrate north. Oh, so they can tell how long the day is. When fall approaches, birds eat a lot of food to store energy for their flight. All at once, they're gone. They have started to migrate. That's why it's exciting to see certain birds at certain times of year here, because we won't always see them. Several months later, the birds are getting ready to migrate again. They must make their long journey to the north. It's time to build nests, lay eggs, and raise babies. That's what they do in the spring. Oh, we have solved some of the mysteries of bird migration. We know where birds go. We also know how high and fast they fly. Some birds fly as high as 5 miles above Earth, but most birds fly about half a mile above the ground. Some fly very fast, over 50 miles an hour, when the wind is blowing in the same direction that they are flying. So this says names of different birds and how high they fly. Ducks and geese fly about that high. Songbirds only fly about that high. But seabirds and shorebirds fly a little bit higher. But look at that. Bar-headed geese, certain type of goose flies that high, 30,000 feet high in the air. Even though people have watched birds for thousands of years, we still do not have all the answers about bird migration, but ornithologists keep trying. Maybe you will be one of them.